So welcome to this class, and in this lecture we'll continue from where we left in the previous lecture and where we were discussing about diode, small signal model. So just let us quickly regather the thoughts why this model is essential and how does it differ from the other models. We have already learned the ideal diode model. We know about exponential model. We know about the process of analysis using iterative method. Okay, and also we have talked about the constant voltage drop model. Okay, so if you look at, first of all, those models have come essentially for the fact that we want to perform linear analysis of the circuit. Linear analysis of the circuit we want to perform. Linear analysis of the circuit we want to perform. But the circuit contains diode. With diode, which is a nonlinear element. As seen from the exponential function that relates the current voltage characteristic. Okay, so the current that flows through the diode is equivalent to, recall that expression, the saturation current multiplied by the exponential of, so let us write it down. Let me first write this stuff, nonlinear element. So why did I say this nonlinear element? Because the current that goes through the diode goes this way. It's related to the voltage drop across the diode with the term with an exponential function. So it's not linear, rather exponential function. So in order to apply linear analysis, which means application of Ohm's law. Application of Ohm's law to permit that, we had come up with ideal diode model, which tells you that under forward bias, the diode acts like a short circuit. The current readily pass through. With the constant voltage drop model, we assume that the constant voltage is at 0.7. Now, those things are fine when we are dealing with DC sources which are perfect. For perfect DC sources, fine. Which means the fluctuations with the time, there is no kind of a superimposed oscillating signal with this source. The source steadily offers a constant voltage. Okay, whatever fluctuation that is extremely very small, that it can be accommodated. But even there, the problem is there. So we do not want any kind of, we need a perfect DC source, fine. Then we can apply that ideal diode model and all those things. But these two models can be applied easily. However, if I am dealing with small signal, how small it is something which we discussed in the morning. So let us recall those concepts. So here is a circuit which here we are saying VDD is perfect and the current flows through the diode through the current limiting resistor, so that we have a control, and the voltage drop VD is also steady. So it is a perfect DC analysis can be performed. Okay, so this perfect signal means no variation in the or fluctuation in the source. fluctuation in the source voltage. Now let us assume that there is a fluctuation VDD and we have got some fluctuation which we said in the morning. So it becomes VDD plus delta VD D. These are fluctuating stuff. Then the current also fluctuates delta ID. Right? So that is depicted in this, and the voltage drop across the diode also goes in this manner. That is depicted here, right? So how do I analyze such a circuit? So we are looking at a nonlinear element. So what we discussed was in the morning, we started with doing some, we defined the term small signal. How much defined the term small signal? How did we do that? We did some mathematical manipulations, and from there we defined how small the signal variation. The signal can be anything. The signal can be a sinusoidal superimposed on DC, or it can be a triangular, or it can be a square superimposed on a DC. But how small the signal has to be, that is defined by what is called. So this delta VD, what you are seeing, is a time varying, that signal is a time varying quantity which I represented as VDT. That's just time varying quantity. Time varying signal that is seen along with the DC this thing. So for example, we always used to have 0.7. So this can be something like 0.007. So 0.7 plus 0.007. Okay, so or even so those kind of numbers depending on what is the nature of the source, and mainly that, and then the resistor that we use here, and the operating point over here. Those things you will understand in this class. So VD of T, time varying signal, that is the delta VD I'm talking about here. Delta VD, right? So that is across the diode. So this is the source. So double D represents source, single D represent the diode. I'm just recalling what we wrote in the morning. Okay, and how small it is, that is defined by the fact that if the ratio of this signal to the thermal voltage is much smaller than 1. Okay, and I told you what are the typical values. Recalling the fact quickly, small VD corresponds to typically around 5 millivolt, and the VT at room temperature is typically around 25 millivolt, then that becomes 0.2. So in this kind of, so it is only 20% of the VT value, in which case much smaller than 1, 0.2 much smaller than 1, then we can apply this model. Okay, and we will exemplify that through a problem in this class, right? So quickly recalling that fact. Now the second fact that we learned in the morning is, because we are talking about small signal VD and there is a small signal current, fluctuating current, therefore obviously evidently we will be able to define what is called, and in fact we define small signal resistance. Small signal resistance we defined. So this is a model. Okay, model to accommodate the incremental change in the voltage drop that occurs across the diode as a result of the fluctuating input signal. So small signal resistance RD is actually okay, please remember this. These are small d because the small is meant for small letters. So RD is small signal resistance or incremental resistance, that is equivalent to this VT by I capital D. See, think about this. So the temperature, operating temperature, determine what kind of resistance we are dealing with. In case of small signal, of course, the steady state current ID, that ratio gives you the small signal resistance. and typically you will see this is in the order of few ohms. That's all. Okay, so that is what we will also see through this class. Now, how did this? So you recall this equation. I want you to recall this equation quickly. That the total current that flows through the diode. Now, you must understand that there is a steady state voltage. There is a small signal voltage. So the small signal, which is fluctuating with time, is superimposed on this steady state voltage. So steady state voltage will get a steady state current. The small signal will give a fluctuating current. The total current will be the combination of the steady state current plus the small signal current, which is fluctuating. So the total current expression, just to recall, what we did was I d of t, which is again a function of time because obvious reasons. The capital ID, which is the steady state current, plus then the small ID of t, which is coming from the small signal fluctuation, right? So these are total current. Okay, and this small IDT only we found out that the small IDT to be equivalent to remember this, to be equivalent to what did we get? We got this B d by bt into id, and this is actually recall this quickly. I took the VD outside and wrote ID by VT. I'll get this equation once more. Okay, so remember this fact that this one ID is constant because it is a DC source. DC is supposed to be the DC value, which is constant. Thermal voltage we know at operating temperature, so we can calculate KT by E. So we can calculate the small signal conductance, and inverse of that small signal conductance is going to be small signal resistance, right? So now to understand this further, get the insight about this, what we are going to do is actually we are going to understand graphically this. Okay, so let us for the moment. So we take the typical IV characteristic of a diode. This is the IV characteristic of the diode. And here you can clearly see there is a small DC value, which is the DC operating point or the Q point, bias point, that corresponds to DC values. So this bias point coordinates are obviously the X coordinate is VD, which is the DC value, again because I use the capital sign and the capital sign for the current, corresponding current. Now on this we have a superimposed triangular. Here we show a triangular small signal. Okay, triangular small signal. This triangular small signal can be even sinusoidal, but whatever you have the variation here, corresponding variation will be reflected over the current also, small signal current. Okay, so you look at here how carefully you have to draw. Okay, so this point let us begin with. Forget about this line. I will come to this line, how that line was coming. That line actually is nothing but first I take this kind of stuff. So let me explain over here. My drawing will be crude, but still nevertheless you will get something out of it. So here let us say this is my operating DC point. Now at this point what I draw is a tangent to this point. A tangent to this point. If I draw a tangent to this point, that is the line. The tangent at Q is the line that indicates here. Now the tangent clearly tells you there is a swing here. Okay, that swing beyond that point, you have the tangent is going away from the actual measurement value. Similarly, below that point, the tangent is going away from the, because this is exponential true curve, this is a tangent. So, but between this point and this point, it is exactly coinciding with the exponential. For the purpose of drawing, I have shown like this, but there is a small region where it coincides with this exponential. That is exactly the point there. Now, this small signal will be reflected by the measured small signal current over here. The waveform is exactly same, but there is a fluctuating small signal which is going swinging between the positive and negative with respect to the DC value. Therefore, what you take is you take the from the peak you take the vertical and meet there. From the lower peak you take the vertical. That point will be the current variation that is drawn here. Now, what is very important here is you have to understand is there is a superimposed small signal, in this case triangular. As I told you, it can be anything. So don't get me wrong there that why only triangle is done. It is not triangle always. It can be a square waveform too. It depends on the nature of the small signal. Try to understand, or the nature of your input source. If the input source that you use has some kind of a square wave. So normally what you do in the lab is you take a constant DC source, you use a function generator to or a CRO to put to get an input small signal and superimpose. Superimpose means just add the two. One is a DC signal which is constant. Add to that, superimpose the triangle form. Okay, so that is the idea. Once you do that, you will get that kind of figure. That is exactly. But the variation is happening only with respect to the small signal. We don't have to worry about the DC value. The operation point is very clear. We can use simply the constant voltage model. But because of this time varying, we are forced to adopt a new model called small signal model. And in doing so, what we do is we define that small signal resistance, right? So recall this equation, ID of T equal to ID, which is a DC value plus the small signal current, and expand it ID plus okay, VDT ID plus VT. This is the equation, right? So with this equation, what we do is think about this. In the absence of this small signal, so this equation is resembling like this. So y equal to mx plus c, where the x variable is your x-axis variable, which is the small signal variable, which is over here. That in the absence of the small signal, there is no variation here. So the current that will be flowing will be corresponding to the figure A here. Figure A here. That is a completely steady state. But with the presence of the small signal, you are going to get this kind of equation, right? With the slope m equal to ID by Vt, which is the measured in mhos conductance, small signal conductance. Now try to see this. You see here this variation is within this tangent. So if I take the slope of the tangent, okay, slope of the tangent which is drawn with respect to the bias point, that will give the slope of this small segment also, right? Which is the small segment? Small segment is from the point A to point B over here. That is a small signal segment. So your signal has to be so small enough that it will be accommodated only within this linear region. So what will be the consequence? The consequence will be that it will permit linear analysis of a circuit having diode, which is fundamentally a nonlinear element. And the second consequence of that is we can do the DC analysis separately, the small signal analysis separately. Okay, so those two things you have to understand very clearly. Okay, so so the slope of the, let me just give me a second. So slope of the, let me again repeat those statement. The slope of the segment is actually the linear segment between point A and B is given by the slope of the tangent drawn. At the point, the tangent is drawn with respect to the bias point DC. What does that tell you? It tells you that as long as you operate within this, if your operating point is between point A and point B, you are okay to perform linear analysis. Any point swinging away, so the IV curve excursus between point A and B for linear analysis. Any point, if you take, if I operate over here, the circuit with the diode, or over here above this point A, both are wrong. For then I cannot do linear analysis. That is the point. Okay, so you have to understand that. So I am driving that point very clearly, crystal clear with that. And then the consequence, as I said, apart from linear analysis, the other consequence, so is actually, I will write those things, is, so one is, we have found a method to perform linear analysis. Okay, through inclusion of small signal resistance. Through the inclusion of small signal resistance, we are able to perform linear analysis. Interestingly, the small signal resistance is purely dependent on the bias point ID. That's the thing. And which is a steady state current, and the thermal voltage, that is the temperature. Most often in the lab, you will do it at room temperature. You will take typically VT to be equivalent to 25 millivolt, right? So that is the thing. Now, the second point is, okay, one can perform, this is the implication, most important thing, one can perform DC analysis separately, to get the bias point, DC bias point, to get DC bias point, and you can also perform the, then you perform the small signal analysis. So we already defined what is small, so I don't have to go again and again. Small signal analysis. Now, in doing so, we can get the small signal parameters, and DC will give you the DC bias point. So from DC bias point, if I knowing ID, I can calculate what is the slope. The inverse of the slope will give small signal resistance. Now, once I have the small signal resistance, all I need to do is the following things to get the small signal analysis. Okay, first thing that I need to do is short circuit the DC voltage source. The second thing I need to do is open circuit, which means no current flows through. Open circuit, if I'm using any current source instead of the voltage source, you know that we know how to convert a voltage source to current source and current source to voltage source. Open circuit the current source. DC current source. Be careful. DC current source. not this. And then what we need to do is, you remember the circuit? We got this circuit, which is the figure B. Let us go back to that figure. Look at this figure. All I need to do is remove short circuit. So effectively removing this, then the diode over here. So in figure B, I need to remove this DC source, and then instead of the diode, I should replace the equivalent small signal resistance, and then we can simply do the. Now when I do that, this is a small signal voltage, and this is my R. This is my another small r. So I can simply have a pure resistive circuit. Now I can simply apply the Ohm's law and perform linear analysis. So that is the idea with this diagram. So replace, the third step is actually replace the diode with the small signal resistance. Small signal resistance. Of course, the resistance always has unit of ohms. The small signal resistance will be of the order of few ohms, as I said earlier. So note that the replacing the diode with its small signal resistance results in linear circuit because it is a simple. I can apply Ohm's law straight away by current division. Let us exemplify through a problem. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so there is a circuit here, given circuit. Let me read it for you quickly. The R value is given to be 10 kilo ohm. Okay, this fellow is not going. So I will tell you exactly. The current limiting resistor has a value of 10 kilo ohm. The source has V plus, refers to, it's a 10 volt supply. Okay, it is a 10 volt DC over which we have sinusoidal signal of 1 volt peak is superimposed on this. So look at this value 1 volt with respect to 10 volt. It is 10% of the DC value. That is what it is we require. We can't have compared value. Then to perform the small signal will be absurd. So you have to be very careful whether we can apply small signal. Through this problem, from the result, we can infer that rather we will be able to apply the small signal correctly. I will exemplify that, which is superimposed on 60 Hz. So this is one point that you need to, which I did not tell you. This is a low frequency. Okay, the small signal analysis we learned is applicable for low frequencies. Okay, that is the point. So the RD models the small signal without any problem. Okay, but if I want to do the dynamic response of that RD, then I have to bring in the CJ. CJ is the junction capacitance, and then CD, the diffusion capacitance. Both of these have to be brought in along with the small signal resistance to perform dynamic response. For now, we are only talking about linear response. It's fine. I can do simply at low frequencies with the model that we learned. Okay, just for the sake of completion, I am telling you. So 60 Hz, 1 volt with respect to the DC 10 volt. That is only 10% variation. This signal component, okay, as I told you, has ripples. Right. More on this later. Fine. What it is ripple is the disturbances in the, the small incremental changes that happens. So you don't get a steady state power supply. Rather, there are ripples superimposed on this DC value. For now, it is enough to understand that. Calculate both the DC voltage of the diode and the amplitude of the sine wave signal appearing across it. Assume the diode has a 0.7 volt drop. So First thing, as I told you, perform a DC analysis. To perform a DC analysis, I need to draw a DC circuit. So simply, I am getting that figure right over here. All I need to do is omit this sinusoidal component and just keep that DC component. And with this, we can easily calculate ID. What is the value of ID? Simple ID will be equal to this diode is grounded over here. So this is 0.7. So this will be 0.7 over here at this point. So it will be ID will be equal to 10 minus 0.7 divided by 10 kilo ohm. That is 10 into 10 power 3 because of the kilo ohms. So effectively I will get 9.3, then divided by 10 will be 0.93 milliampere. That is the current, steady state current. Now once I have that, I can find what is the to perform the. So remember, it is asked calculate both the DC voltage of the diode. So the DC voltage we have already, we will assume, because you see here this is 0.93, but what is given here? 0.7 drop at 1 milliampere, 0.7 volt at 1 milliampere is thing, and here you are getting 0.93 milliampere, which is so close to this 0.7. Therefore, as a first approximation, I can take 0.7 itself as the steady state DC voltage across the diode. That's what is I am taking. But if you want to be very accurate, you can do what is the iterative method you can perform, which we have learned in the previous classes, how to do it, going between the two equations, the linear equation KVL and the exponential model. By going across that, we can find that. So simply V2 minus V1 equal to 60 millivolt. Remember that it is in millivolt multiplied by if I remember correctly, it is log of I2 by I1. You substitute over here. We know what is I1. We know what is I2. I2 is 0.93. I1 is 0.1 milliampere. So 0.93 divided by 1 milliampere. And we know what is V1. We can find V2. You can keep on doing until you get concordant value. Then you will be fine with the iterative method, where it converges to a particular value of. But because the currents are very close to each other, I am taking that 0.7. Fine. Now, as far as this small signal analysis, we need to calculate the small signal resistance RD. RD is small signal resistance. Calculated using the formula straight away Vt by Id. So Id is known, Vt is at room temperature, so I can take 25 millivolt as approximation, not 25.9. You can take, no issues, no harm, and then 0.93. You substitute, and I have done this problem. 26, you will get roughly about 26 point. Let me give you the answer straight away. Okay, you will get roughly about 26.9 ohms. That's what you will get, because this is close to 1, so but less than 1. Therefore, you will get slightly more than 25. Right. Now we need to find what is the VD. Okay, we need to find this. Our aim is to find this small VDT. Okay, so how do I do this? So to do this, actually, let me go to the, I draw this small signal analysis circuit. This is a small signal analysis circuit for the diode. I have replaced the diode with the small signal resistance, which has been found to be 26.9 ohms. And this is already 10 kilo ohms. Okay, and then this fellow is given as your Vs plus. Okay, this is a small Vs, small signal. Vs is given as 1 volt peak. So we need to find the peak. You look at this question. amplitude means always peak. So we need to find VD peak will be equivalent to simply Vs peak, and then we have to take the corresponding resistance, total resistance, voltage division law. So we'll get RD by RD plus RD R. So you substitute directly over here, you will get 1 volt into 26.9 ohms divided by this is a 10 kilo ohm. So it becomes 10,000 ohms plus 26.9. You will get 26.9 divided by 10,000, 26.9. And what is the answer here? You will get typically 2.68 millivolt, because this you can see the 5 digits millivolt. Now look at this value here. This value corresponds to the small signal peak. Now what did I say? For small signal analysis, small signal approximation. What is the approximation? The approximation is given by the fact that small Vd divided by Vt should be much smaller than 1. Indeed, it is the case because we get 2.68 divided by 25. You will get much smaller than 1. This roughly about, say, let us say 2.5. 2.5 divided by 25 will be 1 by 10. So that is much smaller than 1. Therefore, our method of applying the small signal model in this problem is correct. Okay, that is correct because of the way we have taken the signals. That is the most important, because you look at how we performed this ID. So ID is coming directly from the ratio of this, and ID has a bearing on the small signal resistance. Small signal resistance has to be small. So indeed that is the case, right? That's it. So let us carry on forward in the next class with the voltage regulation using the forward bias. How do we attempt to get voltage regulation using forward bias functioning of the diode? Okay, just a second.